The salt wind had worn the lighthouse keeper's cottage down to its bones. Margaret Chen stood at the edge of the cliff, her silver hair whipping in the Atlantic gale, surveying what remained of the place she and Thomas had called home for 40 years. The white paint had peeled away in sheets, the garden fence lay in splinters, and the keeper's cottage, once the pride of Cape Marrow, sagged like a broken promise. "We can fix this," Thomas said quietly, coming to stand beside her. His weathered brown hands trembled slightly as he gestured toward the ruin. "We've rebuilt worse." Margaret nodded, though her heart ached. They'd raised 2 children here, David and Lydia, both adopted when they were barely old enough to walk. The lighthouse had been automated 15 years ago, forcing them into retirement, but they'd stayed on as caretakers. Then came the call from David, now a successful architect in Boston, insisting they needed proper care in the city. Lydia, a corporate lawyer in New York, had agreed with cold efficiency. 6 months in that sterile assisted living facility had nearly killed them. The other residents were kind enough, but Margaret and Thomas had spent their lives battling storms and tending the light that guided ships to safety. They needed purpose, not bingo games and supervised medication times. So they'd left. Simply walked out one morning and took the bus back to Cape Marrow. The first week was the hardest. The cottage had no running water, the pipes had burst during the winter. The electricity worked sporadically. They slept in sleeping bags on the floor, their backs protesting every morning. "Mom, Dad, this is insane," David had said when he finally tracked them down by phone. "You're 78 and 80 years old. You can't live like this." "We've lived through 3 hurricanes in this lighthouse," Thomas replied calmly. "We'll manage a few broken pipes. Lydia and I have careers. Families. We can't drop everything because you're being stubborn." Margaret had taken the phone then. "We're not asking you to drop anything, sweetheart. We just want to live on our own terms." The line went dead. Neither David nor Lydia called back. But the Chens weren't alone for long. News travels fast in a small coastal town. Miguel Ortega, who ran the hardware store, appeared the next morning with his truck bed full of supplies. "Heard you might need some PVC pipe," he said with a grin. By noon, half the town seemed to be there. Emma Rodriguez, the school principal, organized a work crew. Young couples with children brought sandwiches. Old fishermen who remembered when Thomas used to rescue vessels in distress came to help shore up the foundation. "Why are you all doing this?" Margaret asked Emma as they painted the kitchen together, the smell of fresh latex covering years of mildew. Emma paused, her roller dripping yellow paint. "My grandmother used to tell me about the night your light saved my grandfather's trawler. He would have gone down with his whole crew if Thomas hadn't spotted them and radioed the Coast Guard." She smiled. "This town doesn't forget its guardians." Margaret's eyes filled with tears. The transformation took 3 months. The cottage rose from its ruin like a phoenix. Thomas and Miguel rebuilt the entire plumbing system. Local teenagers cleared the overgrown garden and planted new vegetables. A retired carpenter named Jack Patterson refused payment to rebuild the porch, saying only, "Your light brought me home safe 100 times. Margaret started a small bakery in the cottage, selling her famous cranberry scones to tourists. Thomas gave lighthouse tours, sharing stories of the old days when keepers had to wind the mechanism by hand every 4 hours. They weren't wealthy, but they were alive again, truly alive. Then came the storm. November brought the worst nor'easter in 20 years. The automated lighthouse's backup generator failed, and with it, the light went dark. 3 fishing boats were somewhere out in that maelstrom, trying to find their way home. Thomas didn't hesitate. Despite the Coast Guard's warnings, despite his 80 years, he climbed the spiral stairs of the lighthouse tower, Margaret right behind him with blankets and thermoses of coffee. The manual override was still functional, it had to be. For 16 hours, they kept that light burning, Thomas cranking the mechanism every hour while Margaret monitored the radio and fed him soup. They watched through the storm as, one by one, 3 sets of lights appeared on the horizon, following their beacon to safety. The Coast Guard commander who arrived the next morning found them asleep in the lighthouse, wrapped in blankets, the mechanism still turning. The story made national news. "Elderly couple saves lives despite children's abandonment," read one headline. Margaret hated that part. She'd never wanted to shame David and Lydia. But the article reached Boston and New York. David arrived first, his expensive car looking absurd on the gravel road. He stood in the doorway of the cottage, staring at the transformation, the gleaming kitchen, the rebuilt porch, the garden bursting with late-season vegetables. "I thought you were losing your minds," he said quietly. "I thought we were protecting you." "We know, sweetheart," Margaret said, taking his hand. "But we needed to protect ourselves from fading away in a place where we didn't belong." Lydia came the next day, bringing her 2 children, grandchildren Margaret and Thomas had barely seen in 5 years. The kids ran straight to the lighthouse, demanding stories. Over dinner that night, Margaret's fish stew, made from the day's catch, Lydia spoke carefully. "I've been thinking about what really matters. I've been working 90-hour weeks for a partnership I'm not even sure I want." She looked at her children, laughing with Thomas as he showed them nautical charts. "Maybe we could visit more. Maybe every summer." David nodded. "And I could help with repairs. Actually use my architecture degree for something meaningful instead of just condos for rich people." That Christmas, the cottage was full. David, his husband, and their adopted son. Lydia, her wife, and their 2 girls. Miguel and Emma stopped by with tamales. Half the town seemed to flow through, bringing food and stories and laughter. As Margaret watched her family around the table, the family they'd built through adoption, the family that had abandoned them, the family they'd found in this coastal town, and now the tentative reconnect ion of it all, she felt Thomas squeeze her hand. "We did good," he whispered. "We did," she agreed. Outside, the lighthouse beam swept across the dark Atlantic, steady and strong, guiding everyone home.
Hello everyone. If you are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, don't forget to support our channel. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. We regularly upload amazing, informative, and entertaining content just for you. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to bring even better content in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and welcome to our growing community.